And we are back. Welcome to my predictions for Premier League Game Week 17. Firstly, thank you for all the support you gave to the Europa League and Europa Conference League video yesterday. And I have to say, we did fairly well in terms of all of those predictions, given all the circumstances. And I have to say it, firstly, congratulations to Rangers. I know I give the Scottish side some stick, but going away to Real Betis and getting through, very good achievement. And also commiserations to Nordsjælland, because imagine beating Fenerbahce 6-1, beating Ludogorets 7-1, and then still going out of the group stage to those two sides. Absolute madness, and yeah, commiserations to Nordsjælland. But we are not here to talk about European football today. We are here to talk about the Premier League once again. It is a massive Game Week 17 coming up as we head into the Christmas period. And if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. Let's get straight into it, because we're kicking things off tonight with the game between Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur. And a reminder to any fantasy football fans that this game is taking place tonight, so you need to get your teams done today. But like I said, it is Nottingham Forest taking on Tottenham Hotspur in the Friday night football. And this is immediately a really tough one to call. Forest are pretty good at home, especially in those late evening games. Spurs, of course, have had very, very poor run of form recently, but seem to rediscover that actual on form against Newcastle last week. Of course, Forest, again, very, very, very close to sacking Steve Cooper until they were able to get that draw away at Wolves in last week's game. So, really hard to place this one. I think you have to look at things overall and say, with Spurs getting some of their players back, with Forest, in the main, not playing very well, I'm just about going to go for a 2-1 win to Tottenham. Will that cost Steve Cooper his job? For his sake, I hope not, but I think it still could. We will see what happens tonight. On to tomorrow, there is no lunchtime game, so we jump straight to 3 o'clock and we start off with AFC Bournemouth taking on Luton Town, the two sides that played against the two Manchester clubs last weekend. Bournemouth, of course, winning 3-0 at Old Trafford. Luton getting beaten by Manchester City. So I think as much as I would love to see Luton get a result, as much as Luton need a result against a team like Bournemouth, as they're going to be desperately looking for points anywhere they can, I just think on current form, Bournemouth are probably too good for Luton, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Bournemouth. But we'll see. Obviously, for Dave's sake, I hope that Luton do get a result, but I just don't see it happening this weekend. Next up, it is Chelsea taking on Sheffield United. And Sheffield United, under Chris Wilder, have produced two very good performances. In my opinion, robbed against Liverpool and then very good for their victory last weekend. Chelsea, of course, have now started slipping down the table again as the pressure mounts on Mauricio Pochettino. Could they slip up at home to Sheffield United? If they do, could that cost Mauricio Pochettino his job? Probably would, to be fair, but I think Chelsea are going to get the job done this weekend. I'm going to go for 2-0, but that is a very cautious 2-0. We shall see. Next up, it is Manchester City taking on Crystal Palace in their final game before they head off to Saudi Arabia for the upcoming Club World Cup. Is Erling Haaland going to be fit? Remains to be seen. Is it going to matter? I don't think so. Palace have really dropped off it in the last couple of weeks. They have managed to squeeze together a result last time out, but I just don't think they're going to really cause Manchester City any problems away from home. Obviously, they have historically got some results against Manchester City, but I just don't see it happening this weekend. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Manchester City. Next, and the final 3 o'clock game, it sees Newcastle taking on Fulham. And this is probably going to be my first big sort of shock of the weekend. I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. Fulham have been absolutely brilliant in the last few weeks. Back-to-back 5-0 wins. Granted, both of them were at home. But they have scored 3 goals or more in their last 4 Premier League games. Newcastle, of course, have basically just run out of steam. Yes, they've had a couple of players come back to full fitness, but they got heavily beaten by Spurs last week. They arguably threw away a European spot in midweek against AC Milan. However, if I was a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't be complaining about how they went out. They would have gone through to the next round of the Champions League if they scored. So the fact that they got hit on the counter and then got knocked out, I don't think they can be too disappointed about that. You've got to try and maximise your opportunity. If they'd have held on to the draw and got a Europa League place, all the Newcastle fans would be moaning that they didn't try and get into the next round of the Champions League. So I don't think they can complain about that. But the fact of the matter is, they have been losing games recently, and Fulham have been playing very, very well. And I think with the fact that Trippier is also suspended, the injury list mounting up quite high, a great opportunity for Fulham to get a result. I definitely think Fulham could even win this one, but I'm not quite that confident, so I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. The final game on Saturday is the Sean Dyche derby. It is Burnley taking on, I would say, high-flying Everton if it wasn't for that 10-point deduction, but assuming that 10-point deduction wasn't there, it would be high-flying Everton. They are absolutely on fire at the moment, and I think they're definitely going to go to Sean Dyche's old stomping ground and get the victory. And I'm going to go for 3-1 to Everton. They're playing very good football at the moment. I think it'd be too much for Burnley. On to Sunday, we start off with Arsenal taking on Brighton. Brighton with a very, very good 1-0 win over Marseille last night. Something that they've really been looking for. They have scored and conceded in every single Premier League game so far this season. So to actually get a 1-0 win over Marseille in a massive game in the Europa League last night is a great result for them. However, going to the Emirates, I just don't think they can produce that same sort of level of performance. I'm going to go for 2-0 Arsenal, which is obviously a bit bizarre considering the fact I've just said they've scored and conceded in every single game this season, Brighton. But I just think Arsenal are just peaking that little bit at the moment. The performances are starting to get a little bit better. Defensively, they are starting to improve, and I think they are going to keep Brighton out this weekend as I go for that 2-0. Whilst that game is going on, there'll be another game going on between Brentford and Aston Villa, and we spoke about injury concerns for other teams so far. There are no more so prevalent than in the Brentford side at the moment, obviously with Ivan Toney still suspended, and now Brian and Burmo also injured, as well as some key midfielders missing for Brentford as well. Norgard and Jensen both looking like they could be unavailable for this game as well. And obviously the long-term injury to Rico Henry. They didn't score against Sheffield United. They didn't really look like scoring against Sheffield United. And against a currently running rampant Aston Villa, I think it's going to be a real tough one for them this weekend as well. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Aston Villa. I just don't see where Brentford score. The final 2 o'clock game is West Ham taking on Wolves. And again, West Ham had a fantastic performance last night and a 2-0 win over Freiburg. Essentially run by the returning Edson Alvarez. They massively missed him last week against Fulham. It was evident he wasn't on the pitch. And not only was his return helpful in solidifying their defence last night against Freiburg, he then went and popped up with a goal and an assist as well. So what a return to the side for Alvarez. Obviously, he should be available for this game against Wolves. It's going to be a tight one. I just think that West Ham are going to edge it, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to West Ham. And then finally, we have Liverpool against Manchester United at Anfield. And I just don't want to talk about this. This genuinely could be anything. Bruno is suspended. It looks like Maguire and Shaw are going to be out injured. They're still being assessed, which to me says that we're desperate to play them. And you just don't play people that are injured. You just don't do that. It looks like Martinez and Casemiro could be potentially available, but again, you don't risk that in my opinion. Obviously, we've then got all of our other injuries. Liverpool, with the exception of Robertson and Thiago and potentially McAllister, are pretty much at full strength. I really think this could be anything. I was very close to putting $nil for this game. I don't see Manchester United scoring whatever happens. And, you know, I speak to a lot of Liverpool fans and they go on about how Liverpool aren't quite playing at their absolute best at the moment. No, I would agree with that. They're not quite producing the level that you would expect, but the point stands that Liverpool are top of the league and are getting results, and Manchester United are 6th. When we went into this fixture last season, Manchester United were in a title race. Liverpool weren't struggling in the race for Champions League, and Liverpool won 7-0. This time around, Liverpool are top of the league and in a title race, and we're the side that are in 6th and are struggling to get for a Champions League place. So those roles have swapped, and last year they won 7-0. So honestly, this could be absolutely anything. I'm just going to go for a blanket 3-0, purely because Manchester United showed some sort of defensive resilience against Bayern Munich in midweek, but after the week they've had, the defeat to Bournemouth, crashing out of Europe against Bayern Munich, like I say, Bruno being suspended, all the other injuries, I just don't think Manchester United have the mental capacity to deal with Anfield on Sunday night. It could be anything. I'm just going to go for 3-0. I could have put 7, 8 or 9 on there, and I think it could have been justified. But that's what I'm going to go for. I am actually out with my Liverpool mates when this game is on, so pray for me. But that obviously means my reaction video is going to come a little bit later on Sunday evening. Thank you very much for watching as always. Let me know all of your thoughts for this weekend's fixtures down in the comment section below. I will be back. Next time you see me will be that Manchester United-Liverpool reaction. Whatever time that is, it'll be, like I say, it'll probably be late on Sunday. But thank you very much for watching once again. I will see you very soon.